Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm going to be your host and producer this evening, Logan Landers. And I'm going to be dissecting and speaking about an NCAA Week 10 game preview between the Georgia Bulldogs and the Missouri Tigers. So if you enjoyed the episode, give us a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check us out on Facebook and on YouTube each and every single week. And our podcast, we have videos that drop, or episodes that drop every single week in an audio format of our show. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Missouri currently ranked number 12 in the nation, and the Georgia Bulldogs now ranked number 2 according to the college football playoff polls. So let's talk first and foremost about the Missouri Tigers and how they can pull off the upset here in this SEC showdown. So looking at this Missouri team, obviously led by quarterback Brady Cook. So far in the year, he's thrown for 2,259 yards, 15 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, has been sacked 13 times on the year at almost a 70% completion percentage, has had a very good year so far. Running back room, you've got a guy by the name of Cody Schrader, ran the ball for over 800 yards this year on 140 carries, averages 5.8 yards per attempt, and gets 9 touchdowns on the season for the young man. Also, be on the watch out for Cook. He can get done with his legs as well. He's got 5 touchdowns and 134 yards moving his legs this year, does the quarterback. Receiving core, 2 guys that Georgia has to circle and keep an eye on this upcoming weekend. Obviously, you got to have Luther Burden III. 905 yards, leads your team in receptions by a lot. He's got 61 grabs this year. Also is leading the team with 6 touchdowns. Right behind him, though, second best receiver is Mr. Theo Weiss Jr. 440 in terms of yardage, 36 grabs, 5 touchdowns for him. When you go over to the defense for the Missouri Tigers, you're going to be led by a guy on the D-line by the name of Darius Robinson. 4.5 sacks on the year for the young man, has looked tremendous. And another defensive lineman who's also been able to get it done is Johnny Walker Jr. He's got 4 sacks. As a team, Missouri, they've been able to get to the quarterback 24 times this season. Now, when you look in the secondary, who's been putting out work there, obviously you got to look at Mr. Chris Abrams-Drain. 10 passes defended and leading the team in terms of interceptions. He's got 4. Missouri's team's got 30 passes knocked down and 7 INTs. Missouri, they have looked really, really good this year. I mean, currently ranked number 12, only loss of the year came to LSU back in early October. But since then, they've bounced back. They beat ranked Kentucky 38-21. They were off last week, but the week prior, they beat South Carolina 34-12. So they have been able to get it done on both sides of the ball. Now let's flip things over to the Georgia Bulldogs and what they've been up to and how they can remain undefeated this upcoming game. So looking at this matchup here, Georgia, obviously we all know who is their guy under center. We've been talking about him for multiple weeks here, and Mr. Carson Beck. Also, he's had a really good year, 2,462 yards, 73% completion percentage, 14 touchdowns, 4 INTs, only been sacked 5 times on the season. The rushing game, of course, it was led by Deshaun Edwards, 556 in terms of yardage, 8 touchdowns, and he's looking good for a 5.9 average per carry. Behind him, their backup, Kendall Milton, 251 and 4 touchdowns for the young man. Receiving game, still going to be without Brock Bowers for a few weeks, so he is still on the shelf, but you still have some really good players such as Dominic Lovett, 365 and a touchdown, Marcus Rosemary Jack Saint, 341 and 2 touchdowns, Ra Thomas, Ladd McConkey, as well as Oscar Delp. All those guys helped out last week with Georgia as they remained undefeated. And they got the win last week, as mentioned, against Florida in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party in a pretty big blowout. On defense, Georgia, they are still rolling. They still have a lot of really good players. Leading your team in tackles, of course, is Small Munden Jr. He's got 37. Sacks, you've got guys like Jamin Dumas-Johnson, 3.5. Mikael Williams, 2.5. Munden, who I just mentioned, he's got 2 sacks. And also Jalen Walker, a sack and a half. Right now, Georgia's got 16 sacks as a team. And then when you move to the backfield, you've got some really good players there like Dalen Everett. He's got 5 passes defended. Kamari Laster, he's got 4. Malachi Starks has 4. Tyke Smith, 2 passes defended, 4 INTs. He has looked great this year. Georgia, they've got 9 interceptions on the season, 31 balls batted down. So looking at these teams, this is going to be a tough matchup for both these teams. For Georgia, it's can you still get it done without Brock Bowers? Can you get it moving? Can you get a good balanced attack? We'll see what happens there. As for Missouri, you just got to keep playing the way they've been playing pretty much all season up till this point, and that is solid football. But with that being said, I'm still going to roll with the Georgia Bulldogs. They've been undefeated for quite some time now. And my motto I'm with is if you can't beat them, look, you got to be the man to beat the man, right? So no one's been able to beat Georgia for quite some time. So I will continue to pick them in this upcoming matchup. Final score, give me the Georgia Bulldogs 35 and give me the Missouri Tigers 28. This could be a good fun matchup this upcoming weekend, but I want to hear from you, our fans. Who's going to take this win here in week number 10 of college football? This game's got a 3:30 Eastern start time, and it will be in Georgia. It's going to be a fun matchup. Once again, I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, everyone, and